My dear one, listen carefully, because this message is not arriving by accident. There is something hidden beneath the silence you have been experiencing, something deeper than the distance you have noticed from your special person. You have been wondering why they seem different lately. You have been asking yourself why their energy has shifted, why their messages feel colder than they once were, why they seem to be pulling away, when once they seemed so close, so present, so certain. You have replayed your recent interactions over and over, searching for the moment something changed, trying to pinpoint the exact second when the warmth began to cool and the closeness began to dissolve into something you can feel but cannot quite name. The truth is that your special person is intentionally avoiding you right now. They do not know how to face you. They do not know how to look into your eyes without thinking about what they recently discovered, without feeling the weight of something they were not prepared to carry. They have become aware that there are parts of your past you have been keeping hidden from them. And this realization has stirred many complicated emotions within their heart. It has not silenced their feelings for you. It has not erased the connection. But it has introduced something that was not there before: uncertainty. And uncertainty, for a heart that believed it knew someone deeply, can feel like standing on ground that has suddenly begun to shift beneath the feet. Do not misunderstand this message, dear soul. Their avoidance is not coming from hatred. It is not coming from cruelty or from a desire to punish you. It is not a cold and calculated decision to make you suffer. It is coming from confusion. It is coming from a heart that is trying to understand what is real and what is not. A heart that is sorting through memories and conversations and moments, trying to figure out which ones still mean the same thing they once did, and which ones now carry a different shadow. They are not avoiding you because they feel nothing. They are avoiding you precisely because they feel too much, and they do not yet trust themselves to handle those feelings without losing control of them. From heaven's perspective, both sides of this situation are visible. The angels can see your fears as clearly as they can see your special person's confusion. They know why certain chapters of your life remained locked away. They understand the weight of the wounds you carry, the mistakes you regret, the moments you wish had never happened, the memories that still make your heart ache quietly when no one is watching you. They have seen you wrestle with those parts of yourself in the stillness of your own private hours. They have witnessed the way you push certain thoughts aside, the way you breathe through certain reminders, the way you have learned to live alongside your past without allowing it to swallow you whole. You believed that if your special person knew everything, they might see you differently. You feared that the full truth of who you have been could change how they felt about who you are now. So you chose silence. You chose to protect yourself, to protect the relationship, to protect the image that had been built between you. You chose to keep certain doors closed, because behind those doors lived versions of yourself you were not sure would be welcomed, not sure would be understood, not sure would be loved the way you needed to be loved. And so those rooms remained dark, and you hoped that love could flourish in the rest of the house, without anyone ever needing to open them. But secrets have a way of creating distance, even when love is present. They do not disappear simply because they are ignored. They settle into the walls of a relationship, and slowly, quietly, they change the temperature of everything. They make certain conversations feel heavier than they should. They make moments of intimacy feel slightly incomplete. They create a subtle but persistent gap between two people who are standing close to each other, but are not, in the deepest sense, fully known to each other. And a heart that loves deeply will eventually feel that gap, even if it cannot immediately explain what it is feeling or why. Your special person has been replaying conversations in their mind. They have been sitting with the weight of what they now know, turning it over carefully, examining it from different angles, trying to understand not just the information itself, but what it means about the space between you. They have been wondering what else they may not know. They have been questioning whether the image they created of you was complete, Whether the person they fell for was the whole person, or only the carefully curated version you felt safe enough to offer. Every unanswered question has added another layer of uncertainty, and uncertainty is exhausting for a heart that only ever wanted to be certain about you. At night, when they are alone, they think about you more than you realize. They remember the laughter you shared together, the ease of it, the way it felt natural and unforced. They remember the connection that felt different from anything they had experienced before. The way being with you felt like coming home to something they had not known they were searching for. They remember specific moments, small ones, ordinary ones, that somehow became extraordinary simply because you were in them. The way you said a certain thing, the way you looked at them, the way the world seemed to quiet down when the two of you were together. Yet alongside those memories now sits doubt. Not doubt about whether those moments were real, but doubt about whether they knew the whole person they were experiencing them with. And that kind of doubt does not erase love. It complicates it. It makes love feel less like solid ground and more like water. Something you can still see clearly, still want to hold on to. But something that keeps shifting shape in your hands, no matter how carefully you try to keep still. This is why they avoid you. They fear that if they speak too soon, their emotions will take control before their mind has caught up. They fear that if they see your face, if they hear your voice, if they allow the full force of their feeling for you to become present in their body again, they will either become angry in a way they cannot take back, or become vulnerable in a way they are not yet ready for. They do not yet know which reaction will arrive first. And until they feel more certain of themselves, they are keeping their distance. Not to abandon you, but to protect both of you from a conversation neither heart is quite ready to have in its fullest form. Heaven wants you to understand something important about this moment. People often believe that relationships are destroyed by the mistakes of the past. But far more often, relationships are damaged by fear in the present. The fear of honesty, the fear of vulnerability, the fear of being fully seen by someone whose opinion of you matters more than almost anything. Your past is not your greatest enemy in this situation. Your silence is. The walls you built to keep your pain private have also, without intending to, kept your person on the outside of something they deserve to be on the inside of. The truth is that every human being carries a story. Every person alive has chapters they are not proud of, decisions they would make differently if they could go back, moments they have had to forgive themselves for even when the forgiveness did not come easily. Your special person is no exception to this. They also carry secrets. They also carry regrets. They also carry quiet scars that very few people in this world have ever been allowed to see. They know what it means to protect yourself. They know what it means to be afraid that the truth of who you have been might be too much for someone to hold alongside the truth of who you are now. What they are struggling with right now is not simply the content of what they discovered about your past. It is the realization that you did not trust them enough to share it. That is the wound beneath the wound. That is what is sitting heaviest in their chest when they think of you in the quiet hours. Not anger at who you were, but grief at the fact that you chose silence over trust. That you believed, even after everything between you, that they could not be trusted with the whole of you. From heaven's view, there is a heart standing at a crossroads right now. One path leads toward understanding, toward a conversation that is difficult but necessary, toward a love that is deepened precisely because it has been tested by truth. The other path leads toward continued distance, toward the gradual hardening that happens when two people allow too much time and too much silence to settle between them, toward a slow and quiet kind of letting go that neither of them actually wants, but that both of them will allow to happen if nothing changes. Which path is taken will depend entirely on what happens next, and what happens next depends on you. Your special person has not completely given up on you. If they had, they would not be thinking about you with such frequency and such feeling. If they had, they would not be experiencing such an emotional response to what they discovered. Indifference. is the true signal that love has left, and indifference is the one thing they are not feeling. They still check for signs of you when they believe no one is watching. They still feel you in the space of their days, even when they are trying not to. The connection still lives in them, unresolved and aching, and that ache is not the ache of someone who is finished. It is the ache of someone's who is still hoping, still waiting, still leaving the door slightly open even while their hand hovers near it. The opposite of love is not anger. The opposite of love is not distance. The opposite of love is indifference, the complete absence of feeling, the total evaporation of care. And your special person is so far from indifferent that the intensity of what they are feeling is itself the evidence of how much still remains between you. That intensity is not your enemy. It is your invitation. It is the proof that there is still something here worth fighting for, worth being honest for, worth being brave enough to walk toward, even when every fearful part of you wants to retreat. But heaven is asking you to understand that healing cannot happen where honesty is absent. You cannot rebuild something on the same foundation that cracked it. You cannot restore trust by continuing to protect yourself from the vulnerability that trust requires. A moment of truth is coming. A conversation that has been delayed far too long will eventually need to take place. Words that have been living inside your chest, unexpressed and restless, will need to finally be spoken aloud in the presence of the person who deserves to hear them. Excuses will not be sufficient for this moment. Half-truths will not be sufficient. Defensiveness, the kind that rises up to protect the ego when the heart feels exposed, will not be sufficient. Only honesty, real, open, unguarded honesty, will have the power to begin rebuilding what has been shaken. Do not approach this moment carrying pride like armor. Pride will only make the walls higher. Do not approach it wrapped in fear, rehearsing all the ways it might go wrong before you have even given it the chance to go right. Approach it with sincerity. Approach it with the kind of quiet courage that acknowledges your own imperfection, without drowning in shame about it. Your special person is not searching for someone who has lived a flawless life. They are searching for someone who is willing to be real with them. They do not need you to have a perfect past. They need to know that you trust them enough to show them who you truly are, all of it, the parts you are proud of, and the parts you have had to grow through. Heaven is reminding you today that your worth is not determined by your mistakes. You are not the sum of your lowest moments. You are not the same person you were during the chapters of your life that fill you with the most regret. Growth has taken place in you. Lessons have been learned through experiences that cost you something real. Strength has been built in places that were once only tender and wounded. The person you are today carries all of that history, not as a sentence but as a testament to resilience, to the human capacity to move forward, even when moving forward is not easy. But growth becomes meaningful, becomes something that can actually serve a relationship, only when it is acknowledged, only when it is allowed to be seen. Carrying your growth privately, hidden behind the same walls that hide the wounds that preceded it, does not allow the person you love to know what they are actually receiving when they receive you. It does not allow them to see how far you have come. It does not allow them to recognize that the person standing before them now is not identical to the person who made the choices they are still learning about. The angels are encouraging you to stop carrying this burden alone. Stop believing that hiding the truth is the same as protecting love. Real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that deepens over time rather than hollowing out, is strengthened by truth, not weakened by it. Truth is not the enemy of love. Fear of truth is. And love that has been allowed to know the whole story, love that has seen the darkness and chosen to remain anyway, is a far stronger and more enduring love than anything that has ever been built on carefully maintained silence. Your special person's distance is not the final chapter of this story. It is a chapter of reflection. It is a chapter of processing, of sitting with something difficult, and trying to understand what it means, trying to decide what to do with the feelings that have arrived uninvited. It is a chapter that still has the capacity to lead somewhere beautiful. if the next steps are taken with wisdom and with courage. So do not lose hope. Do not allow fear to sit beside you and whisper that everything is already over, that the ending has already been written, that there is nothing left to do but grieve what is lost. Fear is not a prophet. Fear is simply the voice of all the ways things could go wrong, and it speaks loudly precisely because it knows how much this matters to you. The silence you are experiencing today is not necessarily a goodbye. It may simply be the space that both hearts need before truth finally steps forward and speaks. Before the real conversation begins. Before love decides, with full information in its hands, what it is willing to build and what it is strong enough to hold. And when that moment arrives, dear soul, carry this message with you. Honesty may feel frightening for a moment, but living behind a mask is far more painful across a lifetime. The truth has the power to wound for a season, but it also carries the power to heal what deception never could, to restore what silence slowly eroded, to bring two people back into genuine contact with each other, after too long spent circling each other from a careful distance. Trust that what is truly meant to remain in your life will not be destroyed by the truth. It will be strengthened by it. It will be clarified by it. It will be given solid ground to stand on for the first time, and what heaven builds upon truth, what love chooses to build upon the foundation of full and courageous honesty, can stand far stronger, far longer, and far more beautifully than anything that has ever been built upon fear.